Keen Project Solutions, a modern engineering and construction firm, embracing technology, establishing industry-leading systems and processes, and delivering reliable results to our customers. At Keen, we are passionate about inspiring our team and our customers to achieve great things, offering the highest quality services as an industrial contractor to deliver turnkey projects. Our core beliefs drive us forward. Protect people, build relationships, drive innovation, and focus on end goals, bringing our customers' desired results to life. See how Keen can work for you at ThinkDifferent.com.
He's the prime cut passer from behind the meat counter. It's Fairway Frank. And introducing a 6'3" center who's a cut above the rest. Say hello to Audie Crooks.
Everyone, welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic pregame show. Feels good to be back chatting about your Cyclone women's basketball team. I'm your host, Leah Nelson. Chelsea Poppens will be joining me in the studio. Iowa State women's team made their 6th straight NCAA tourney. They are taking on Princeton tonight at 6 p.m. We're excited to talk about it, cover it, everything and anything. But before we get started, let's thank a couple of our sponsors. Starting off with Keen Project Solutions. Keen Project Solutions is celebrating 10 years of innovation, serving ag, industrial, and commercial customers with pride. Make sure you visit thinkthinkkeen.com today to apply. Keen Project Solutions, great people make a great company. And then our friends over at Central States Roofing. We are really thankful for them over at Central States Roofing. They've been supporting coverage of Cyclones this whole postseason. They have been a locally owned business for 56 years now and serving our local communities. Get the best Iowa roofing service from the top roofing company in Iowa. They have locations in Des Moines, Ames, and Fort Dodge. So see more of what they can do for you at csroofing.com. All right, Chelsea. Woo! Good to be back. I haven't seen you in forever.
I know.
I know. But Iowa State taking on Princeton. Before we kind of break down Princeton, I want to hear your thoughts on, Iowa State being in the first 4 game. I think it's kind of nice. I feel like they can get their cobwebs off, get a good feel. It's been a while since they've played, which it's funny. It's only been like a week, but still that feels like a really long time. But kind of what are your thoughts and feelings of this first game?
It's an honor to be able to kick it off and be the first game of the tournament, but at the same time, it is a lot of games without having that bye the first round, crammed into 1 week or whatever it is. But they did have a little bit of time off. They should be a little more well-rested physically, mentally. And so I don't think it is what it is at the end of the day, and They got to show up and they got to show out, whether it's the first game or the next game, which hopefully will be there.
Exactly. I agree. It seems like they have a pretty good head on their shoulders. They seem really excited. And at the end of the day, it is such an honor to be in the NCAA tournament, no matter what seed you are. Yeah. And the way that Audie and Addie were chatting about it, and even Coach Finley in the press conference yesterday, they realize that, and they know just how excited they are. I mean, they're tied for 14th with how many straight NCAA tournaments they've been to, which it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. But also we didn't even know if we would make the NCAA tournament. So with the way we were playing for a while there, just didn't know if we'd even have a chance. But so, just happy to be in the tournament and to be competing. And what better way to test the skills of our young athletes by making them play the first game of the tournament?
1000%. So they're playing Princeton. What do you got on this Ivy League team?
I mean, I do think they have some solid guards that are able to shoot the three. They have Sky Belker and Ashley Chia, who's a very good 3-point shooter. Chia is 36% from the arc, and I think Sky Belker is also a good presence, 38.2% from the arc. And they do have post players. I don't think they match up at the end of the day when it comes to Crooks and Brown and the ability there, with the occasional Williams hopping in. And so, I mean, Parker Hill is 6'4", a 6'4" senior, so she does have a little more of that veteran mentality. But I think in comparison to, like, nobody's been able to stop Audie from getting into like double figures. And if I'm looking at just statistically speaking, they're not matching up like Brown and Crooks are in their ability to score and being an offensive threat. If anything, they'll be a pest. I think they have a lot of guards. They have a little bit more veteran status. They have Fadima Tall, who can shoot the three. She's a 6-foot sophomore. But I mean, I know they're going to show up. I know their offense is a little bit slower. That in the press conference, coach and the players were talking about it's a little bit slower, and they're going to try to use that to their advantage. But I mean, if we're just looking at stats, very similar statistically as far as like 3-point, free throw, and like across the board. I mean, assists is probably the only biggest difference, was like 15.1 assist average for Princeton versus like our 19, I think it is, or 18 or something. Yeah, 19.3. So like on paper, very similar, but I think once it gets onto the court, it's going to be a completely different ball game. Plus, I know I'm on a tangent right now, but
no, keep going. I love it. This is great.
I think our team has played a lot more challenging teams leading up to this, which is going to be the biggest test of the girls right now. Is like they've played against some of the top teams in the nation, and three of the Final Four teams from last year. And so I think we've only grown and we've only gotten better, and we're only playing our best basketball. Like we're just now starting to play our best basketball. So
I'm glad you bring that up. Watching the press conference, Audie even mentioned that too. She's like, sometimes I feel like we get a little overlooked, and I think people forget that we have played one of the toughest, if not the toughest schedule in women's college basketball this season. So it's just impressive, and they are playing great basketball right now. Before I ask a couple more questions, let's thank the rest of our sponsors. Fairway Meat and Grocery. It is almost grilling season. It's fast approaching. There's no better place to load up on your good quality meats than Fairway Meat and Grocery. Make sure you check them out. They've been a great longtime partner of Cyclone Fanatic, so we're super happy to have them as a sponsor. And then we've got Country Landscapes. If you're thinking about making a big move to your home this spring and summer, make sure you check out Country Landscapes. They have locations in Ames, Clear Lake, Des Moines, and North Liberty. They can help with any design or build project to your outdoor living space. So make sure you check them out when you have a chance. But Chelsea, going back to basketball now, but thanks Country Landscapes and Fairway. How do you think Iowa State is going to come out? Because yes, it's their 6th straight, trip to the NCAA tourney, but you have to admit there's probably some nerves coming into the tournament because it's such a big deal. Or do you think that they are going to be cool, calm, collected, and just really prepared?
I mean, I don't know about cool, calm, collected. I do think they've been showing up with a lot more energy in that first quarter right out of the gate, which I love to see. But I mean, at the same time, I know they're young. Some of them, it's their first NCAA tournament. And I think you can't forget that it's still a high pressure scenario, high pressure situation. At the end of the day, I don't think they have anything to lose, because if they're already seeing themselves from that underdog mentality that people are underrating them, I think they have nothing to lose and they're just going to show up. And even if I do feel like even if they don't show up with as much energy as we would like, I do think they have the ability to make the most out of our strengths versus Princeton's playing style and offense.
One last question. How important is it for this team to stay in the present moment? I've seen a lot of people kind of mention what ifs, like what if Kinsey Hare was, Feeling good.
I don't know why they're saying that. Like,
right.
No one thinks about what ifs.
Exactly.
Like,
okay, I'm so
important.
glad. Okay, so I was going to say, I was like, how important is it to stay in the present moment? Because there are so many what ifs of what if, they played this game differently, they had a different schedule, they had, Kinsey Hare was back, but just talk about, those things obviously didn't happen. So talk about how important it is to focus on this game tonight, Princeton.
Honestly, I think that's just been the entire season. They're focusing on one game at a time. It's nothing different. I saw the press conference. I'm like, why is that the question? Like, what if somebody, like, that's the same question every team is asking them. Like, they're not asking themselves, but like, there's so many injuries across teams across the board. Like, what if we had a full roster that was fully healthy throughout the entire season? That's never the case. And I thought that was a really not to say a dumb question, but they don't think about that. Like, they understand that the situation is what it is, and you just got to deal with it. It's like, buck up and on to the next game, show up and use what tools you have in your toolbox.
Period. I'm pumped.
And like, I think Brown had a good response. She was like, I mean, it is what it is, but we look forward to having her back next year. And for her to be able to witness her teammates and support her teammates from the sideline is also a learning curve from an athlete, and she's going to be a better player because of it.
I'm glad you brought that up. And I think Addie and Audie were just so professional and well-spoken. I was so impressed, and just the way they were able to handle every question. And I don't know, they just are really proud of Iowa State and bringing attention to women's athletics and Iowa State women's basketball. So I just felt really proud to be able to like support them and chat about them. But Kinsey Hare is going to be great. Obviously, they have a big game tonight. I think they're super focused on it. They're going to do well. I'm pumped. And I'm a little anxious because, I mean, I keep feeling like NCAA tournament is such a big deal. I don't know, like, I would be nervous. I know.
I mean, it is nervous, but it's the moment that everybody's been preparing for. You're like, this is it.
So right.
And I mean, a lot of the girls know what to expect because they played some huge games last year in the tournament. And so they're like, well, all right, let's just do it again. But for some of them, it will be a new experience. It will be exciting, and hopefully that'll only better their game and their motivation to compete.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate all of our sponsors, Keen Project Solutions, Central States Roofing, Fairway Meat and Grocery, and Country Landscapes. You guys can all tune back in right after the game for a post-game show with Chelsea and I. Thanks to Aiden for producing, and go Cyclones.